Hello, can you see me? Hang on one second. Ah, there we are. Hello. Well, welcome. Can you hear me all right? So this is Torn Book Club. And my name is Saruman, also known as Josh. Um, and this is our brand new program where we will be discussing literature, reading and writing, and all sorts of fun stuff. Oh, good. Glad to hear the sound's okay. I'm getting over a slight cold, so if I let out a cough that sounds like I'm about to die, I apologize in advance. Yes, there is a Hitchhiker's Guide. So, what we're going to be discussing on this show are several different things. Um, the first is, of course, this is November, which means it's National Novel Writing Month. Is there anybody there who's participating in NaNoWriMo this year? I see everybody is checking out the books on my coffee table. So, if you want, I can just go over them real quick. We've got Narnia. We've got Lord of the Rings, of course. We've got the letters of J.R.R. Tolkien. We've got Neil Gaiman's American Gods. We've got one of the Dresden File books by Jim Butcher. We've got some Harry Potters. We've got the Foundation trilogy by Isaac Asimov. Basically, just a whole smorgasbord of literature that I grabbed off of my shelf. There's a lot more where that came from. Uh, Tolkien-esque. You don't need to be sure of yourself. Just do it. No one needs to read what you write. Just there's a great amount of satisfaction that comes from just writing something and having it done. Believe me, I know. So I wanted to talk to you real quick because I saw some stuff on Facebook and on, well, even if you don't have faith in your writing, just do it. The only way to get over not having faith is to just do it. Believe me, I struggle with that all the time. So where is it? Here we go. So I just wanted to talk to you real quick about who is Saruman, because some people online have been asking, who is this guy? Why is he not Cliff? And oh, excellent. So uh, I'm going to give you just a couple of quick notes about who I am and my history with TheOneRing.net. My name is Saruman. That's my nickname. My real name is Josh. I am a published author. I have been working with TheOneRing.net for about uh, since 2002, I would say. I've been working mostly with events. You've probably seen me in the background. I've been on a couple Torn Tuesdays. I've been on a couple episodes of Happy Hobbit, just very briefly. I'm mostly a background kind of guy, but now I'm in the forefront doing this new show. And yes, as I said, I am a published author, and this is my book. Came out in 2004. Uh, it's unfortunately no longer in print because uh, because when I wrote it, I wrote it in 2004, and it was set against a 2008 election, which at that point in time was 4 years in the future. And now it looks woefully outdated. So at some point I'm going to update this book so that it's a little bit more timeless. And oh no, your video is stopping. I hope that's not me. So that's essentially who I am, and I also work with Torn on our Rewrite Tolkien contest, which you might have heard of. We started it in September, and every month. The Asimov book I have is the Foundation trilogy, so it's the first 3 books of the Foundation series. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm reading the chat while still trying to talk. This is a little weird. So, as I was saying, our Rewrite Tolkien contest has been going since September, and we started with writing a passage from The Hobbit. Oh, sorry, you had an ad. Tolkien-esque. The Asimov book I have is the Foundation trilogy. It's the first 3 books of the Foundation series, which I've read. I've read the entire series. And so, yes. So let's just go through here real quick. I've got a whole bunch of graphics to bring up. Yeah, it's very bizarre, Pipsquet. I'm still getting used to this. Please, I'm getting my live show sea legs, so to speak. And it's a lot harder when it's just one person and I don't have somebody to banter with. Oh, that's fantastic, Tolkien-esque. Your teacher wants to do the Rewrite Tolkien contest in class. That's awesome. So let's talk about Rewrite Tolkien real quickly. In September, we started with Dr. Seuss. The whole concept of it is you submit a passage from The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings in the style of a different author, just to see what another author would do if they were to write Lord of the Rings. So in September we did Dr. Seuss, and in October, because of Halloween, we did Edgar Allan Poe. I have not read the Dragonlance books yet. It's kind of intimidating to me just because there's so many of them. I do want to get to them at some point. It's on my extraordinarily large to-read list. So, yes, Rewrite Tolkien. So in October, we had Edgar Allan Poe as the theme for the month because of Halloween. And we got lots of great submissions from all over the world. How many times have I seen the Lord of the Rings movies? I've lost count. I usually watch them once or twice a year. And for a while, I was reading the books once a year. I haven't been able to get back to it lately. But I would like to revisit it at some point. So our winner for our October Rewrite Tolkien contest was a piece called The Party by EAA Polkin, and it was submitted to us by Alistair Murray from Edinburgh. And it is a fantastic parody of The Raven. Oh, hello, I stole the One Ring. Good to see you here. And so I wanted to put this to you folks real quickly. The reason we're doing this show here is because, quite frankly, Torn Tuesdays is becoming just far too overwhelmed with all the movie news. And we still want to talk literature. We still have so many other things we want to discuss. So we're starting to branch out our repertoire, so to speak, into other live programs. And this one is mine, and it's about literature. Hello, Yavanna. So I wanted to pose this to you because one of the things that we have done with Rewrite Tolkien is we would have Cliff read the winning entry on Torn Tuesday, but it's becoming a little too much to do on a monthly basis on Torn Tuesday with so many other things. That is a good question, you streamer 570404. And it's something I would love to discuss. We could probably do a whole program just on that question, which we might do. So I was wondering, would anybody be interested in hearing me read the winning entry from October's Rewrite Tolkien contest? There's a whole discussion about Tom Bombadil going on here. So I'm just gonna do it. I stole the One Ring. What is the yes for? I'm asking a question, but there's also a conversation about Tom Bombadil happening in the chat. It's kind of hard to see how everything is synced up here, but I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm going to read for you the winning entry from our Rewrite Tolkien contest. It's called The Party by EAA Polkin, submitted to us by Alistair Murray from Edinburgh. Here we go. Once upon an evening proper, while I readied for my supper, thinking nothing of old Gandalf who had come this way before, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at the bag-end door. "'Tis the wizard," now I started, tapping at the bag-end door. I'd forgotten, tea at 4. Open here I flung the portal, when instead of the immortal, in there stepped a dwarf, a stern and rugged countenance he wore. After an obeisance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with mine of lord and lady strode through the bag-end door. Barely did I think to mark the kindness of ancient lore, at your service and at yours. Barely had I found him seating, barely had the cakes been eaten, when again there came a knocking somewhat louder than before. Back towards the doorway turning, all my soul within me burning. Here I found my eyes discerning, one more dwarf stood at my door. As the two talked of distant mountains by the western shore, two more dwarves came to my door. Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. Dwarves, said I, good dwarves, truly your forgiveness I implore. But the fact is I am expecting just one guess, yet I'm collecting dwarves. Tell me, what is directing you towards my humble door? Then, one more knock, said I. Someone again? Said they, some four. So it was, and then one more. Startled at the quick intrusion, bustling through my apt confusion, doubtless, said I, they are here by accident and nothing more. What am I to offer them? Confusticate, but bother them! Why must now I weather them endangering my home's decor? One last knock, and with a temper here I opened wide the door. Four more dwarves fell on my floor. Right away they got to eating all my precious cakes depleting, and old Gandalf standing back from all the dwarves that came before. 13 total, Thorin, Dory, Ithili, Balin, Owen, Ori, Keely, Dwalin, Glowin, Nori, Biffer, Buffer, and Bombor. Though they cleaned the dishes well, they exhausted all my store. In the pantry, nothing more. Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed from an unseen censer. Darkness, for the business dark was called for, and they laughed no more. Gathered round a piece of parchment, at the break of day they'd march, when every stone and hall and arch meant for their kin they'd claim once more. To the lonely mountain born, with secret key for secret door, quoth the wizard, Erebor. One by one the dwarves were singing songs of harps and bells a-ringing, dragon fire and twisted wire, the wealth of their great halls of yore. Far across the misty mountains cold the dragon Smaug, confound him, boldly burned the nearby town, then rampaged through the halls of Thror. Dwarves had heard the tramp of doom and fled their homes forevermore. Darkness fell on Erebor. Deep into that darkness peering, long I sat there, wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no hobbit ever dared to dream before. But the singing then was broken, and the darkness gave no token, and the only words there spoken mine, while trembling to the core. Struck by lightning, as I fell upon the floor. Darkness then, and nothing more. Late that night the house was sleeping, though through my head the vision seeping, roads that ran beyond the shire, the paths ahead I would explore. Walking with my house so empty, not until about 10:20 did I realize that plenty time had wasted as I snored. With no time for this, nor that, nor handkerchief, I fled my door to the dwarves and Erebor. And the roadway, never ending, still is winding, still is bending, still is running far away from Hobbit Hole, from my front door. From the door where it began, where I must follow, if I can. Down the path and onwards ran the eager feet it lies before. To the lonely mountain born, with secret key for secret door, quoth the hobbit, Erebor. Okay. So that was the party. And it'll probably take maybe 30 seconds before it finishes on your end. Now we're talking last names. So that was The Party by Alistair Murray. And we do have, well, thank you, Pipsquet. I'm glad you enjoyed that. So now we're going to talk very quickly about the next one, our November Rewrite Tolkien subject, and it is J.K. Rowling. Now this one is going to be fun because you can do a crossover if you wish, or you can simply just write some scenes from The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings in the style of J.K. Rowling. And if you're interested in that, here are some guidelines on how you can submit entries to Rewrite Tolkien. Your entry just needs to be 500 to 2,000 words, no more than that, otherwise we'll never get through them all. We get lots of submissions every month and we read them all. You can email it to rewritetolkiencontest@TheOneRing, and please put your entry in the body of the email, not as an attachment. We won't open attachments. And when you submit, please include your full name and your location so that we can give you proper credit if you win. And we have a limit of just one submission per contestant. And if you submit something, please do not post it on our message boards or on our Facebook page, because we want to be able to surprise everybody with the winner, and we can't do that if you're posting it out there for everybody to see. And finally, contestants can only win once per 12-month period. Now that means that if you win, please don't submit again for another 12 months. Give somebody else a chance to win. So that's Rewrite Tolkien. And I can see everybody's already talking about Sauron versus Voldemort, or Gandalf versus Voldemort. Hello, you streamer 125230. That's so weird. I apologize for the coughing. I am getting over a cold, so I may sound a little stuffy. If you've already posted the piece on a fan fiction blog, I recommend not submitting it to us, just because we don't want we want original works. If you were a runner-up Tolkien-esque, you can still submit. The 12-month rule only applies if you actually win. Gandalf versus the Emperor. Who would win that, huh? I understand Tolkien-esque, but yeah, if you were a runner-up, we only select 2 runners-up. If you're a runner-up, you're still okay to submit again, unless somebody else in the contest tells me otherwise. So, with all this wonderful creative energy going now that everybody's thinking about Lord of the Rings and the Harry Potter verse, which I think would be a really fun crossover thing. I know that there is this sort of Harry Potter versus Lord of the Rings argument that goes on the internet, where it's like, if you like Lord of the Rings, then you can only like that and not Harry Potter, and if you like Harry Potter, then you can only like that and not Lord of the Rings. And to that, I say phooey. That's about as silly as the Star Trek versus Star Wars argument. And quite frankly, I like that. We have this fun crossover thing happening. And even if the winner ends up not being a crossover as much as it's just a Tolkien scene written as J.K. Rowling, that's still fun. Ah, Keely's here. Hello, Keely. Well, I don't think, Pipsky, I don't think it really needs any explanation why there can't be both, because really there is no reason why there can't be both, so there's no explanation for it. So now I'd like to talk to you for a little while about the National Novel Writing Month, NaNoWriMo, which is every November, writers get together and spend all of November writing a book from start to finish, 50,000 words. And I've done NaNoWriMo a couple of times. I've never completed it, but just a quick show of hands or typing the word me. Who is participating in NaNoWriMo this year? And now I'm just waiting for the chat to catch up. To answer your question very quick, Keely, sadly, staff members cannot participate in the Rewrite Tolkien contest, just because our fear is that if a staff member wins, everybody's going to scream favoritism. But that isn't to say that there aren't great writers on staff at TheOneRing.net, yourself not the least of which, Keely. Now NaNoWriMo is a really good exercise, because what it can do is it can sort of get you out of any sort of block you might have. I write every month too. And as writers, we always tend to get into a little bit of a block every now and then, and sometimes you just need to push through it. And having a goal like this can really help you just get through it and get back to writing. Oh no, there are ads. So, as far as writing goes, I've been writing since I was probably about 10 years old. Uh, and like I said before, I am a published author. Here's my book. It's got my name on it and everything. And it's it's very daunting just getting started. And one bit of writing advice that I always refer back to is from this this really dumb movie from 2000 called Finding Forrester. I don't know if anybody remembers that. Oh, now I've got ads. How fun. Okay, so what I was talking about with writer's block is it's it's really hard to get yourself out of it once you're in it. There's a lot of uncertainty. You start questioning all of your decisions. You start saying, well, if I just get it just right in my mind before I start writing, then I'll be set. But that's never actually what happens. Sometimes you just need to force yourself. Okay, there seem to be ads, so I'm just going to wait. And as I was saying, the movie Finding Forrester had one bit of advice in it that I really took to heart and has gotten me through a lot of it's gotten me through a lot of blocks that I've had myself, and it's this. It's what Sean Connery said at one point. You write with your heart, you rewrite with your head. And that really just sort of boils it all down to don't overthink it, just put it down on the paper, and you can chisel it away, edit it, and figure out what all of this means later. But it's important just to get it down on paper or on a computer screen. Ah. My mouse has stopped working. Okay, there we go. Where's my mouse? I've lost my mouse. Technology's hard. Hang on. We're having technical difficulties here. My mouse seems to have disappeared. Well, it'll come back soon enough. So the important thing is always just write what you feel. Like I'll give you an example. The book I wrote, it's called Ben, and it's a young adult fiction story about Ben Franklin time traveling to the 21st century. Well, what I found, Takeo Temple, is that even just starting with the seed of a character, as you write them, they'll start to become more fleshed out as you go. And I mean, you're the only one reading it at this point while you're writing it, so you can go back and you can change things however you want to make everything fit better. But sometimes the best way to explore a character is to just put them down and give them some sort of life on the page. And more often than not, they'll guide you. And that's what happened with this book. It basically started with the what if question. What if Ben Franklin were to see our world today? And I just started writing a hypothetical situation with a very poorly crafted time travel device just to get him here. And then started developing the characters, started developing the situation, got a little bit more into the science or the theoretical science of time travel, and pretty much all very stream of consciousness wrote this down, went back and refined it, and eventually had a fully working story. Now, like I said before, for those who haven't really or those who weren't here at the beginning, what I talked about with this book is that I had to take it out of print because I wrote it in 2004 and it was set against a hypothetical 2008 election, which at the time was in the distant future and I didn't know what was going to happen. And so now that the 2008 election has come and gone, it seems very woefully outdated. And what I want to do is I want to revisit it and tweak it and have it set in a more undefined near future. Let's see if my mouse is back yet. No. My mouse has gone running. It got chased off by a cat. This is going to be a problem when I want to shut down the stream. Oops. Okay. I think my mouse is slowly recovering. Of all the weird technological problems that could happen, my mouse stops working. So, another good thing a writer needs, coffee. So, let's see if the mouse is working again. It is not. And now the chat has stopped. Everything's going wrong! Yes, there is a movie of Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court. I think it was made in the 50s or maybe the 60s. I honestly don't remember. And yeah. Yeah, exactly. There's tea for those who don't drink coffee. Whatever, whatever keeps the brain flowing. Okay. So apparently, it needs to be over there. Oh, 1949. I was way off. So, since this is the Torn Book Club, that means that we're going to have a book of the month that people can read, and then at the end of the month, we will have people come in and discuss what we read. And if we're so lucky, we could also have the author come and discuss it with us. So I'd like to talk to you real quick about what our first book of the month is going to be. And Keely, I'm glad you're here because it's your book. It's Darkling by K.M. Rice, which I think most of you in here may have already read, and if you haven't, I highly recommend it. It's an incredibly well-written book. I personally just loved it. And the uh, the fun thing here, of course, is also since Keely is a staffer of TheOneRing.net, we might be able to get an author discussion going here. And so, in a few weeks, um, we will have a we'll have a Keely on here to discuss Darkling with all of you, not just in the chat, but actually up on the screen. Uh, well, Cliff can't be in all places at once, so sorry. And that and the reason why and part of the reason why we're doing other shows is because Cliff can't be in all places at once. So and yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just catching up on the chat here. So yes, right now the book is only available in ebook format, and you can find it on Amazon.com. I think it's going for $3.99, and you don't need a Kindle to read it. You can read it from any device. You can read it on your computer. There are a billion different ways you can read it. But Keely was telling me earlier today that a print version may soon be available. And that would be very cool. So yeah, there's a lot of dead space here while I'm reading the chat. and I don't have anybody to banter with on screen. Oh, thanks. So we're getting to the 45-minute mark, and what else is there to talk about? We could review some things real quick. Like I said before, this is, here we go. Check that out. Since it's November, it's National Novel Writing Month, or NaNoWriMo, and you can go to any, you can go on Twitter and use the hashtag NaNoWriMo. You can go to NaNoWriMo.org and get lots of great pep talks from other authors. Did I like the new Desolation of Smaug trailer? I loved the new trailer, and I was one of those lucky folks at the fan event who got to see the 20 minutes of footage that they showed after the live event, and it's amazing, and I cannot wait for the movie. Oh yes, I will bring up the title for Keely's book one more time. Here it is. It's called Darkling by K.M. Rice, and we've got another ad. Or I've got another ad. But I can still see the chat, so that's the important part. Has anyone here read Darkling? I have. I think a few other people in the chat have, or have said they are. I don't really want to describe too much about what the book is about. It's a bit of a dark paranormal fantasy. Let me see if I can put the link to the Amazon page up here. One quick second. Okay. So there's a link to Keely's book. And it's there we go. We won't be discussing the book here today, but in a few weeks, once everybody has read it, we'll be having more in-depth discussion with the author about the book, and you all can join in, have your questions ready. Ustreamer553250. Unfortunately, I don't have access to the phone line, so I wouldn't be able to take your call. You don't have to read it if you don't want to, but it would be fun to read it. It's a really good book. I do highly recommend it. That's why we made it the book of the month. Thank you for saying I'm better than Justin. Okay. We're not. The discussion won't be the entire episode, but it will be a good portion of it. And you don't need to participate if you don't want to, but just read the book. Just read the book. You'll like it. Trust me. Yes, Takeo Temple. The time slot is going to be permanent for this show. We're going to do it weekly in November for NaNoWriMo. After that, we're probably going to move it to bi-weekly. Just because it's a little bit easier for me. I do have a day job. So for November, it will be every Sunday, same bad time, same bad channel. We're going to be wrapping up soon. Sorry, I'm like still just looking at the chat. So yeah, in December, we're probably going to go to bi-weekly instead of every week. Maybe even just monthly. We'll see how things pan out. It depends on the response that we get here. And also it depends on my schedule. My day job is working in DVD and Blu-ray production, and I work on a little something you might have heard of. It's called Star Trek: The Next Generation. I work on all of it. It takes up a lot of my time. Okay, I will call you Temple from now on then. Thank you. Pardon me. Sorry. So we're coming up on the hour mark. So I will just say thank you for coming. Thank you for joining in the discussion. This is still a little weird for me, but I think as we keep going, I'll get more used to it. Remember to use the hashtag NaNoWriMo if you're on Twitter. And check out NaNoWriMo.org if you're interested in participating. Our November contest for Rewrite Tolkien will be The Hobbit in the style of J.K. Rowling, which should be tons of fun. And we're going to try to do more actual pre-recordings of the winners of Rewrite Tolkien and put them up on YouTube so that you can have access to them. My weird impromptu reading of the party I don't think does it quite enough justice. So that about sums it up. If you want to keep in touch with me or with the show when we're not on the air, we have a Facebook page. It's facebook.com/tornbookclub. We're also on Twitter @tornbookclub. Very easy to remember. And you can email me at Saruman with 2 N's @TheOneRing.net, and I will do my best to respond to you. And remember also, if you are interested in submitting an entry to Rewrite Tolkien, it's rewrite_Tolkien_contest @TheOneRing.net. Tell us a funny story. Okay. I guess I can end with a funny story. This is a true story. Back in, I would say, 1992, 93, I was reading a book. It was called The Lord of the Rings. And I became completely enamored with it. In fact, I loved Lord of the Rings so much, the first thing that popped into my head was, this needs to be a movie. The technology is practically there. We can do this. Now is the day when we can make a good Lord of the Rings movie. So I ran out. I was 16 years old at the time. Ran out to get every book on screenwriting that I could find, and sat down, taught myself screenwriting, and actually completed a screenplay of The Fellowship of the Ring. Unbeknownst to me, at the same time, there was this other guy in New Zealand who was also writing a Lord of the Rings screenplay. One of these screenplays got produced, and I'll let you guess which one. Truth is, the right one got produced, because my Fellowship screenplay was terrible. It took almost 100 pages in screenwriting, which is about a little over an hour and a half in screen time, just for them to get to Rivendell. It was very long, it was ponderous, everybody spoke in large, unbroken monologues. It was a terrible, terrible screenplay, and be glad that Peter Jackson's movie got made and not mine. Having said that, at least I'm here with TheOneRing.net, and I still get to celebrate all the love that I have for Tolkien and for these books and for all books in general and for this wonderful community. So that is my funny story that we will end on. And it's a true story. I believe there is one copy of my Fellowship screenplay still in existence. And it belongs to a friend of mine in Arizona, and she is holding on to it because she is convinced one day I will be a best-selling author, and when that day happens, she's going to eBay it and retire. So again, let me just put our contact information up here one last time. And thank you again, everybody, for stopping by and for participating. I've enjoyed chatting with you, and I look forward to doing it again. I will see you all next week.